Welcome to Ask Love Coach and welcome to my masterclass. I tend to want to expose people to as much information as possible. A lot of the information I give might not be directly linked to a relationship or make a lot of sense until you start to master a lot of these things on a single level experience, so that when you become that without you knowing, and you see how it manifests and reflects as you get into relationships and into marriage, having to work on your emotional, the quality of your emotion will help you long term. I'm sure you would have heard from a lot of other channels and people in general talk about emotional intelligence. I was speaking to my cousin the other day about um, how communication is important, but it's not all that we need in a relationship. We also need to be communicating with people with, high emotional intelligence, because I've worked with, a lot of couples and individuals who have no issues or qualms whatsoever when it comes to communication. I believe their level of communication is not top notch. They explore communication to like high level, like they are high level communicators, but you wonder why that is not transitioning or translating, sorry, in their relationship. You would have thought a lot of people would say, "Oh, I can understand the issue with your relationship because there's lack of communication, or it's pretty much your communication style." So now, when you have people who actually have great communication and good communication styles, and they're struggling in their relationship, you wonder what went wrong or what's going wrong. Like, what is that missing point for this couple? So, what is missing is their emotional intelligence. So, I've seen couples who have the ability to communicate their needs, their wants, their desires, and they have boundaries. They've communicated their boundaries. They have communicated literally every of the buzzwords we hear nowadays from a lot of psychologists and people in general. And it's still massive. Then what? Yes, this is the reason why I am creating this particular types of emotional quality, because your emotional quality would reflect in different aspects of how you move, how you navigate, how you see the world, how you treat the world, how you relate with people in general. So the quality would definitely show in your level of emotional space, your personal development. So I will be looking at certain types of emotional quality. That's what this video is all about. So I'm going to go sequentially from how I have laid it out on my slides. Number one is intensity. So what is intensity? We have high and low intensity, don't we? Like, you literally can, let's even say the literal meaning. So with high, of course, is always high. It's rate, it's ecstatic or ecstasy. It's kind of is expressed in different levels and in different capacities. But low is more like the calm, the mild, you know, a little bit of subtle, you know, texture of it. Number two is how long does it last? Is it like long lived? Is it more like in a shock form, like surprise, surprise? Is it like the transient, or is it the enduring? Like, is it like long lasting, like long suffering? Is it like more of grief or love? You know. Then we move to the complexity of it all. Is how complex is it? Is it like simple, or it's quite complex? Simple would literally show in form of happiness, sadness, anger, fear, and more straightforward, like easily identifiable, as supposed to compared to when it's complex. It's like a mixture of everything I've just mentioned: happiness, jealousy, sadness, anger, like all mixed combined. Like, It's easy, it's not as easy for you to like separate each one. That is high level, like complex level. Balance is another one. We have the neutral, then positive, and the negative. Of course, with positive, you can tell it's all about the positiveness of it all. You know, pleasantry, joy, love, peace, harmony, all of those beautiful package. Then when it comes to negative, of course, you're looking at the sadness, the anger, the fear, the disgust, and what have you. This is a little bit like most likely very undesirable. Then you talk about neutral, it's almost as if you're swinging between the positive and the negative. You're not all the way in into positive, all the way in into negative, but it's like in between, more like curiosity, surprise kind of thing. Then we have the activation level. It's either high activation or low activation. With high activation, it's more like, again, almost at the extreme. It's high level, like arousal level. And the low, like it depicts itself, is all about calm emotions and it's low level in general. Then we have the personal relevance, either intrinsic or extrinsic. Extrinsic. So with the emotional, if you felt it internally, no matter the circumstances, it's more of guilt or pride. And the extrinsic is more of the external events as well, like complaints, frustrations. Pretty much that's what it is. Because oftentimes a lot of us do not know our range. But having a clear understanding of this range, you're able to truly navigate depending on where you find yourself in any of the eight I've mentioned. Like the social impact can be interpersonal or intrapersonal. Interpersonal, of course, would give you that interaction with other people, jealousy, gratitude, empathy. Then, when it's intra, it's very much between internal and external. So, self compassion, shame, and the rest of that. So, regulatory function, adaptive or maladaptive. So, this is more with adaptive, is like your coping mechanism. You're cautious, social bounds, then the opposite is more like chronic, like unwarranted guilt. So, having to understand the importance of this basically is just so that you are able to kind of see your range. Um, Not just with the first initial eight, but also the whole 10, like the authenticity, whether it's authentic or inauthentic, something genuine, something that is heartfelt, um, whatever it is, but as long as it's genuine. And inauthentic, of course, is the opposite, something that is forced, like people pretending to be what they are not or who they are not. And lastly is the temporal focus. So either you're present oriented, your future, or your past oriented. So if we look at present, it's everything present, more of in the moment. You're focusing on now. And the future is pretty much where anxiety resides, because what is anxiety? Just fear for the unknown. It's about the future things happening. While depression, if you look at it, is very much about the past, not letting go of what happened in the past. So why do I have to learn all these types of emotional qualities? When it comes to relationships, since this is about relationships in general, when you understand your emotional quality type, it's easy for you to make, you know, selection in terms of the kind of partner you want to have. Depending on where theirs are, let's say they know, it becomes easy for you to know how to deal with this individual, this partner that you have chosen. So that not only because you kind of have high emotional intelligence, or some you're working on it, or maybe you're nearly there, or you're leading up to that level, but it helps you to build your relationship on a strong foundation. A lot of people go into relationships without any form of understanding of who they are as a person. Part of your self awareness would also include you having to understand your emotional, quality types. Because when you have clarity of who you are on different dimensions, in different perspectives, it becomes a lot easier for you to know who the kind of person you're looking to align your life with. The reason why a lot of people don't believe in relationships or marriage nowadays, or they have issues with that institution, is just because they went into it so more like they were blindfolded. They focused so much on their feelings and they didn't know even about this, their so-called feelings. So it would have been lost, completely lost. But they went there and they realized that, oh, this institution is not just a walk in the park, but it requires me to bring in some of the tools that I have worked on or developed as a single person. And you are working with someone who is on a different level in their own life as well. So depending on where you are as individuals before you became a couple, that would determine how much complicated your relationship can be. And when people constantly, kind of collide in these periods of trying to figure themselves out, because if you see my first video on this channel spoke about singleness, because I think that's the basis of how you build your relationship, because a lot of things needs to be filtered and worked on before you add yourself with another incomplete or imperfect person. Because when the tension comes, when the gravity starts to shift and move your relationship, you either stay and stick it out or you allow it to break and rebuild from there. That's why it's very important for people to be as much as sure as possible as a single person before you start to align your life. But let's say, of course, we all get to the marriage stage oftentimes without being self-aware. This is one of the aspects of yourselves you need to know. That does not mean that as a couple you don't still have to figure this out. You may be able to easily now pinpoint it because you've lived it enough in this relationship. And now that you know better that it's something called emotional quality, then it becomes a lot easier for you to even know how to kind of identify and walk through with your partner in terms of building a healthy relationship or marriage. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you continue to stick around with us. I hope you're learning one or two things from us. Please, I like interactive class. Leave your comments if you have any specific questions for me. You have an idea of video or something you want me to create for you specifically. If I'm able to, I am more than happy to definitely look into that. But I really want you to comment, watch, share the videos, and most importantly, make sure you are updating your notes so you can always refer back to that, and as well as come to this portal or channel to just gain a little bit more of clarity. We are working so hard to make sure we are posting 3 times a week, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and on Fridays. Thank you so much for watching.